So if we want, for example, to test that theory, let's see how we can do that. So let's say that I don't remember what group add has as argument in order to create a new group with a specific user ID. So we remember that our sales group has the JID 1004. If I want to create another group with a different ID, I can just do that. And in order to do that, you add the -J as an argument, or as the command says here, --JID. But I'm just going to use the argument -G. And let's say that I want to give it the JID 999. And let's also give it a name. So let's call it marketing. Oh, it tells me that this already exists. Okay, in that case, let's say that I want to give it the JID 2000. Why not? Let's give it that. There we go. This does not exist already, so therefore we were able to do that. And if we want, for example, to add one user, so let's say that we want to add Kelly in this new marketing group, we can just do that. So group mod -AU, which stands for append user, we are going to type in Kelly and then the group marketing. And if we do an ID on Kelly, we will see that Kelly is part of the sales group, which has the JID 1004, and it's also part of the marketing, which has the JID 2000. So that's how you can also work with different JIDs when you create a specific group. You can either allow the Linux to determine automatically which group ID that particular group should take, or you can manually specify it yourself, how we did in our earlier example. And another command that I would like to show you, it's one command that it's still used to manage groups, but how you can actually rename an already existing group. And that command is used as group mod. So let's use --help, and we can look through different options, but the one that I want to focus on, it's this -n or --new -name, which does just that. It changes the name of a group. Of course, you can use different things with it, but we are going to focus only on changing the name of one of our existing groups. So let's say that I want to change our marketing, the name of our marketing group from marketing. Let's say that I want to name it, why not markets? Markets. I think that's spelled correctly. Oh, I think it was the other way around. My bad. So it's markets is the new name, and we are going to do that for the marketing group. And there we go. Now we have changed the group of our already existing marketing group into markets. So if we do an ID on Kelly, we will see that Kelly now used to be part of the marketing group, but now it's part of the markets, which is one and the same group, but it's just that we have renamed it. And if we do a cat on Etsy group, and we pipe that for, let's say, market, we will see that we have markets here, which is our group that we have created and renamed earlier, and it has only one user in it, which is Kelly. If we search for sales in Etsy group, we will see that the group sales has Kelly and Jake both as members of that particular group. Now, if for example we create, let's see where we are. So do a pwd, we are in root. Let's see, let's do mkdir -p, and let's create two directories. One will be sales and one will be markets. markets. There we go. And if we do an ls on this one, on sales, and then markets, we will see that currently the owner is root and root. We want to change that. So let's use the chown command. We are going to place a dot here because to the left of the dot, we are not going to specify the user owner. We are only going to specify the group owner. So for markets, I want just the group markets to be the owner of the directory markets. I'll do that right now. And if we do again an ls-ld, we will see that we have changed only the group member to markets. And we also changed the group member. Actually, we did not change the group member to sales. We are going to do that now. So chown, again, we place a dot here because to the left of our dot, we do not want to do anything. We want to leave it empty because we do not want to change the owner for the user owner for that directory. We only want to change the group owner. So in our case, it will be sales on the directory sales. And if we do again an ls-ld, you will see that on top, we had the user owner and the group owner root for all of them. But now for markets, we have the user owner root with the group owner markets. Now we also have for sales, we have the root owner user and the group owner sales. Basically, that means that only the members inside this particular group should be able to create files, but that's not the case, because if we don't do something else, you will notice that other users might be able to do things around in that particular group. So for example, if I do an ID on Kelly, we will see that Kelly, it's both parts of the markets and sales group. So let's do an ID on Jake, and Jake is only part of the sales group. So theoretically, if we change the password for Jake so that we can sign as Jake, theoretically, we should not be able to go in markets. We should only be able to go in the group, in the directory sales, because that's only managed by the group sales. And since Jake is only added in the sales group, he should be able to go only there. So let's do a sudo -u Jake -p, I think, or -i. There we go, sudo -i. All right, so we are Jake. We are logged in as Jake. And if we want to change in, let's say, sales group, we can. So here you'll see that we are in the group sales, and we can do a test file, test file 1. And we get permission denied. Why? Because we also did not set up the right permission for the group. So that's one thing that we cannot do. We will rectify that later on. So let's do that right now. Actually, we are going to, let me run the commands again. So you will see that for both markets and for sales group, we do not have the right permission. So basically we cannot create files. So let's do that. So chmod plus read, write, execute, and let's do it for both sales and markets. Actually, you know what? Let's do like this. Let's use the relative method. So let's use chmod to do that, to create the permissions differently. And we remember that read has the number 4 as a index, write it's number 2, and execute it's number 1. Now 4 plus 2 plus 1 make 7. So 7, it's already read, write, execute. Group has only execute and write. So in order to give them the right permission, we should also use 7. Now execute has the index 1, but 1 here it's execute for others. So basically others should be able to change directories. That's what X represents. So we are going to leave that. So chmod 771, let's do that for markets and sales. And if we do again an ls-ld, we will see that user owner has read write execute, the group owner for each directories has read write execute, and X for others, which basically means that they only have permissions to use the cd command. So now if I use sudo -u jake -I, I can go as Jake inside the sales group, sales directory, sorry. And now I should be able to use test file 1, and there you go. So ls-ltr, now I created a test file as Jake inside the sales directory. Let's see if I can change directories as Jake into markets. And yes, I can. Why? Because we have, for others, we have the -x for execute, which allows us to change directories. That's why we were able to use the command cd markets as Jake inside the markets directory. But you will see that I'm not able to list things inside here. Why? Because the access inside the folder itself, markets, allows me to have permissions as long as I'm member of the markets. And since Jake it's only members of the sales group, he does not have permissions inside the markets directory. He can change directory inside it because we left the X for others, which stands for execute permissions, that allows us to have the cd command working, but we cannot do anything. If I try to do an ls-ltr, I cannot. ls-l, I cannot. Touch test file 1, I cannot. I cannot do that as Jake. But what happens with Kelly? So if we want to test that with Kelly, let's change her password so we can log in. Right? So let's do sudo -u Kelly -I, and there we go. We are connected as Kelly, and we are in her home directory. We can go inside actually, before we do that, let's do ID, and we will see that ID Kelly. There we go. So we can see that Kelly, it's part of the sales group and part of the markets group. If we do again an ls-ld on sales and then markets, the groups or the directories, we will see that again, markets, it's controlled by the group owner markets, and sales is controlled by the group owner sales. Kelly, it's part of both groups. So as Kelly, we can go inside markets, we can create files, test file 1, we will see that it's created by Kelly, and we can also go inside sales and we can create a test file 2 by Kelly, and we will see that Kelly was able to change directories in sales and also create a file inside the sales directory and as well inside the markets directory. So Kelly at the moment is the only one that can do that because of her group membership, because she is part of both the sales and markets group. Now, one interesting thing that you might like to see is that we are in the sales directory. Actually, let me clear my screen. So let's do again. pwd, we are in the sales directory. ls-l, we will see that we have test file 1 that was created by Jake, and we have a confirmation here because it shows that it was created by Jake and the group Jake. And we have another one for Kelly. What happens is if as the user Kelly, we try to remove the test file 1 that Jake has done. It's asking us if we want to remove this write protected regular empty file. And let's say yes. Yes, we do. And check this out. We have been able to remove the file that Jake has created. Is this good? No, this is not good. Why? Because in a scenario where you have, let's say, 10 people from the sales team working on different documents, creating documents, Excel spreadsheets that have different sales strategy or sales price for different products and so on. You don't want user Kelly to delete the files that user Jake created. So what's the remedy for that? Well, the remedy for that is to use something called the sticky bit. And the sticky bit does just that. It makes sure that no user can delete the files of the other user if they are not the owner of that particular file. So what does that mean? If we look at test file 1 here, we will see that when it was created, the user owner was Jake. The group owner was Jake as well. But because inside the sales directory, we have the group sales and Kelly is part of that, and we have not made any further restrictions, Kelly was able to remove the files for Jake. So in order to prevent users from doing that, we will use the sticky bit. Now, in order to do that, you have to be root. So I just signed out as Kelly, and I'm gonna do chmod +T for sticky bit. Actually, before we do that, let me do ls-ld and pay attention how this looks. We have an execute for others at the end. Pay attention what happens. So chmod +T on markets and sales. If we do again ls-ld, look at the last X for execute. It just changed into a lowercase t for the sticky bit. And we also see that this has changed. We have a background, a blue background. Basically, that means that now, even though Kelly is part of the sales group and the markets group, she can still do the same things that she has been able to do, which is to go inside the markets directory, create files inside the markets directory, and inside the sales directory to create files inside the sales directory. So if we do again a sudo and let's go again as Jake and let's go into sales. So we are in sales. We can see the test file that Kelly has created earlier. Let's see if as Jake we can remove the test file from Kelly. And no, we cannot, because we have just applied the sticky bit. So let's do another test. Again, inside sales, let's create a new file, empty file, using the touch command, and let's say file test2 by Jake. Let's leave it like that. Now let's sign out from the Jake user account and let's switch user into Kelly, and let's pretend that we are creating a separate connection using Kelly's account. So we go back into sales, we list the contents, and now we can still see the same thing. Jake has created the file as the user owner being Jake, the group owner being Jake as well. Let's try to remove the file test that Jake created after we have set up the sticky bit. If we do that, you'll see that permission is not permitted. And this is how you can prevent users from deleting each other's files. And of course, the same rule applies. We are Kelly, we cannot change, we are Kelly, and because we are part of both the market and the sales group, we can change directories in both of them. But if I try to go as Jake and let's say that I want to go in markets, I can still change directories. I can use the command print working directory to show me where I am, but I cannot list contents. Why? Because for others, we don't have any other permission than the execute permission that allows us to use the command change directories, on top of which it's applied the sticky bit, which does not allow any other user to delete the files of other users as long as they are not the owner of that file. So this is what it means. This is what others means. It means that as Jake is not part of the markets group, he is a other person. He's a different entity. And that's why for others, we don't have any permissions, because we do not want others, if they are not part of that particular group, to be able to change directories here. So pretty much this is it. There is, of course, one other command for groups, which is to temporarily set a different group. So, for example, if we go into sales where we do have permissions, we saw that we have created earlier a test file with the user owner Jake and the group owner Jake. We can use the command newgrp, which stands for new group, which temporarily allows us to switch the groups. Instead of having our primary group appear when we create a file, we can use, for example, the sales group from which Jake is a member of. We can use this. And now if I try to create a new file, let's call it file test 3. Sorry, I missed the command. The command is touch. There we go. And if we list now, you will see that Jake has been able to create a new file, setting up the temporary group sales. Now, what does this mean, temporary group? It means that when we use new group sales, every file that we create now, every directory, let's create a dir test. Every directory, every file that we create, it will have the group owner as the group that we set up. In our case, it was the temporary group for Jake, which he is part of, which is sales. And Kelly is also part of that. In order to change back, you either have to run again the command new sales Jake with his second primary group, or you just sign out as Jake. And there we go. You see an exit here, but we are still connected as Jake. So if I do again touch file test 4, you will see that file test 4 now has a secondary user, the primary user account Jake as the group owner and the user owner. So if we exit out of Jake and we go back to Kelly, and if we go in sales, we list again the entire content, and we see that we have file test 3 has the group owner as the secondary group that Jake was part of, sales. Why? Because we have used the new grp command, and I can do that with Kelly as well. So let's run. Actually, let me clear my screen for 1 second. Let me do an ls-l again. So new grp, new group, let's call it sales. And we have done that for Kelly. And now we can use touch file test 5. And you'll see that the same thing I can do with Kelly as well. So pretty much this was it. Today we have discussed about the new grp command, group mod. We also talked about user mod and how we can use that to grant permissions to users. And we also illustrated what the contents of Etsy group file is, or the Etsy of the group are, or what are the contents of Etsy JShadow. And if you remember, that's the file that stores the password for the groups in question. So pretty much this is it. We also discussed about lead -j that we use to see the contents of a given group, and it will show us which users are part of that particular group. We can do that for the group markets as well, or the group wheel. And we also discussed about how we can grant users access into specific given groups. So pretty much this was it. I decided initially I wanted to make this a shorter one, but I decided to make sure that I go more in depth with each and every single command with a few examples, just to make sure that even though this will be a bit longer, it will help new Linux administrators to have a better understanding of the concepts and how this works. And of course I will add the timeline, so if you don't want to see something, you can just skip it to the part that you are more interested. So pretty much this is it, guys. I would like to thank you very much for taking the time of watching my video. If you did like it, then please consider leaving a like to my video and leaving a comment down below. And if you want to see more videos like this in the future, please consider subscribing to my channel. And I'd like to thank you again for taking the time to view this. I'm looking forward to seeing you next time, and I wish you all the best and have a nice day. Cheers!